every time I take a look at my bank account, I'm always wondering, where does all my money go? I mean, I was just paid last Friday. I earned a decent salary. In the last year, I got a raise. So where does all this money keep going? Why does it feel like money keeps slipping through my hands? I hardly get the time to even enjoy this money, all of my hard work, and I can't see any money in my bank account. Now, this was me a few years ago, and now my story is completely different. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 financial habits that will help you keep more of your ad-end money and also help you build great wealth. Now, when it comes to keeping more of the money that you make, the first step in doing so is to live within your means. And this is something that I'm sure we've heard over and over again, but this is sadly the truth. Most times, when we don't find any money in our bank account, it's because we're spending all of it. And when you spend all of your money, guess what? Nothing is going to be in that bank account. Now, a few years ago, I felt like I had arrived. Like I had a decent job. I was making a lot of money. And guess what? Credit card companies used to send me letters almost every week. And for some reason, I felt like, I must be doing something great. I'm making money, and that's why this credit card company is always offering me all of these cards. And I kept accepting these cards. I kept swiping these cards, forgetting that I had to pay back these cards. And so every month, I'll pay back all of my credit card bills, and there'll be nothing left in my bank account. And I will just be wondering, where is all of my money going to? Sadly, all of my money was going into my credit card payment. And that was because I was swiping without thinking twice. I felt like I had money when truly I did not have money. Having credit card made me feel like, I could spend and get whatever it was that I wanted, not necessarily what I needed. And so I started, to inflate my lifestyle. I started to live above my tax bracket. And, before I could realize it, it just all came crashing down. There was little to nothing left at the end of every month. And I became the real definition of paycheck to paycheck. And so if you're in the same situation, you're wondering, where does all of your money go to? The first thing you probably want to check is, am I living within my means, or am I living above my means? And the easiest way for you to do that is for you to always, go through your financial statement. What did you spend your money on? Where did your money go to? For me, I realized that almost all of my money went into credit card payment, because every month I needed to pay back credit card. And when I decided to kind of get rid of that credit card, I knew that I was in deep trouble, because if I didn't get serious about repaying those, it was going to take me forever, and I was going to spend almost eternity paying back those credit cards. And so the first reality check for me was to ensure that I was living within my means. I was buying the things that I could truly afford and not stretching myself so deep that I didn't have leftover for me to be able to save, and I didn't have leftover for me to be able to invest. And this is one key thing that actually helps us to build wealth when we're living below our means or within our means and not living off of credit card. So if this is something that you feel like you're doing, then it's high time that you kind of take a deeper look at your financial statement and begin to, reduce some of those expenses that are not truly needed. And one thing I like to share ahead, is that many things will look like you need it. Sometimes we try to justify our spending based on what we're doing. In my own situation, because I worked hard, I used to feel like, you work so hard, you earn so much. Why shouldn't you, just buy this stuff? But it wasn't a thing of why don't you buy it? The thing is, what alternative can you do with this money so that the returns from that money can actually pay for the luxuries that you want? And so me having a rechange and having a different mindset really, helps me to start to build wealth and actually got me off that mess that I was in. Now, if you want to be able to keep more of your income and build wealth, you've got to get out of debt. It is a must. You can't keep accumulating that and you will be able to build wealth. It doesn't work, especially if those debt are personal, right? It's not like it's a financial debt where you're making investments and you got a loan for it. If you have a lot of credit card, based off of your lifestyle, all of the things that you're buying, the things you're wearing, the things that you're using, then you have to pay that off, because if you do not, it's almost impossible for you to be able to save. And that was one thing that I realized, that because I was living above my means and I was accruing a lot of credit card, I had very little to save, because at the end of the month, I had to repay all of this credit card, because if I did not, interest rate was going to go up, late fees was going to go on top of it. And so I had little to save, not even think about investing. I couldn't even afford to invest at this time, because I got to pay back this credit card bills on top of the expenses that I already had. So if you want to build, financial wealth, if you want to be able to save more of what you earn so that you're in a better position to be able to build wealth, you have to pay off your debt and reduce your debt as much as possible. So if you're currently in debt, one thing I would advise you to do is for you to just go get an Excel, write out all of your debt, and start to pay off the highest balance that you have. Now, a few people will say, pay off that has a very high interest rate. I don't really think it matters. At the end of the day, if you owe 20,000, you owe 20,000. If you owe 5,000, you owe 5,000. If you owe 3,000, you owe 3,000, regardless of the interest rate, right? And when it comes to credit card, many of those interest rates are very similar. It's like 29%, 27, 25, 21. If you got lucky, maybe you had under 20, but I don't think it makes a big difference. But I feel like, if you line out your debt and you begin to pay off, whether it's the highest balance you pay off or the lowest balance, whichever works for you, just start to pay off. Don't pay attention to which one has the highest interest rate or which one has the lowest interest rate. I'm not sure it's really going to matter. For myself, what I did was to pay off the lowest credit balance that I had. Let's say I had different credit cards. I had 20, 10, 5, 4, 3. I'll quickly pay off all the 300s, the 500s, the 1,000, the 5,000. So that I'm left with that big chunk of, let's say, 20,000, and then I start to pay that off till it kind of goes down. That was what worked for me. And I'm sure that if you try it out, it will work for you. But the most important thing is you are paying off that credit card till it gets to zero. If you don't have the cash, don't spend it. If you don't have the cash, then there's a possibility that you do not really need it. Now, there's something that I also learned during this process. If I wanted something, I didn't used to buy it immediately. I used to take the time to go think through it. And then if I come back and come get it, then I really want it, right? And I always make sure that it's actually something that I had the money to pay for. So even if I wanted to swipe my credit card, let's say for the packs I would get from a credit card, I had the cash to pay back at the end of the month. And that was my mindset. And that really changed things for me, because I stopped to spend what I didn't have. I stopped living above my means, and I started to, really pay attention to my debt. And once I paid off all of my credit card, guess what? I started to see money in my bank account. So when I got paid, the money was still there, because guess what? I didn't have to pay credit card, right? All of that noise reduced, and now I could see my cash. I could plan for my cash. I could plan for my vacation. I could plan for my next investments, and I could just save. When you're so much in debt, it's so much work that you're not able to even see, above the waters. You're not even able to see, that emergency that might come your way. You don't even have the money to be able to plan for emergencies, because you don't have it. And guess what? When a true emergency truly happens, what then do? You go swipe another credit card on top of that. And then before you know it, you are owing so much. It got to a time that I had over $50,000 in credit card debts. Yeah, that's how bad it was. And that was when I realized that, you know what? You're doing something wrong. Even if you make a lot of money, this is no reason for you to leave this kind of lifestyle. Like, you're not doing yourself any good. What happens when you don't have this job tomorrow? Guess what? You're not going to get cash. And then those debts will keep going up, and then it just gets really overwhelming. And so if you are in this situation, it's never too late, but you need to kind of list out all of your credit card debts and begin to pay them one after the other until you pay them off. Because if you want to build wealth, then these are the things that you must do. You must live within your means or beneath your means, right? And then you must make sure that you reduce any type of debt that is around you. Now, another habit that will help you be financially independent while you're a working professional is for you to switch jobs when that job is no longer serving you. And I think that we don't say this enough. Most times, many of us are stuck in jobs just because we're comfortable in that job, we're able to live our lives around that job. But if a job is not making you learn more, then it should be making you more money. If it's not doing any of those two, Why are you really in that job? Because your salary serves as that first income stream that should start helping you build wealth. So why stay in a job that is not serving you either knowledge-wise or financially? Right? Why should you stay there? I've seen people who have been, in that one job for ages and they've earned peanuts over and over again. And all they've done is complain, complain, and complain. Complaining does not change anything. If you want to change the amount that you earn, guess what? You may need to speak up and tell your current employer that you want to earn more. But most of the times, that might not work. We're not valued in our home. So the best thing is switch. Like switch. And most times when you switch, you get an instant 20% increase, 30% increase. Some people even get as high as 40% increase when they switch jobs. So why stay in the same job over and over again? You're earning the same money. You're getting $1,000 at the end of the year as a pay increase, and it's not even serving you. Now, there are some people where they love what they do. They love where they work. Everything seems to be working quite well for them. Then kudos to you. As long as it's serving you, then you're fine. But if it's not serving you, you're not growing, you're not learning, and you're not earning, guess what? Find your way out and go find yourself another job. And if you feel like, what other job am I going to do? Then it's high time for you to actually increase your skill set. That is something that is important. One of the things that I did that really, helps my financial power and capability was the fact that I switched jobs. And for me to be able to switch jobs, I actually had to learn more skill set and find out what was, needed in the market. And by the time I did that, my salary jumped up by almost 60%. Like it was that good. Like it just moves to the next level. And from there, I just kept moving and moving and moving up. And that's something that you really want to consider, because sometimes, at different points in times in our lives, we might not be ready, or we might not be financially ready to take a step like investing, or take the step like starting a side hustle business. So start with what you have. In that same job that you have, find a better paying job. Up your skill set so that you're able to demand and command and attract that high-paying job. Because once you're able to demand more and command more and get more, guess what? You can put your financial house in order and can begin to have extra to save, have extra to invest, and start having extra to build wealth for yourself. So it's very important that you're not staying the same. It's very important that you're continuously learning, you're continuously growing, even as a working professional. Nothing stops you from even changing your industry. The world is yours to live. You can decide today that you want to do something completely different with your life. I studied international relations, have a master's in business administration. Currently, I'm in the IT field, right? Switch if you feel like that's the right thing for you to do, and go chase your goals and your dreams. So don't stay at that job paying you peanuts and clearly that I can't even save. I have nothing to save from this peanuts I'm earning. Do yourself that favor, go find the next job, get the right skill set, and improve your financial power. Now, something else that's very important when it comes to building wealth is for us to build a strong saving habit. And that's something that many of us that we're working don't have. Many of us, we have this mindset that money keeps coming every 2 weeks. Money keeps coming every month. And so we're fashioned to just spend and earn, spend and earn. And then we repeat the cycle over and over again. If you do not save, you cannot build wealth, because that's the foundation to building wealth. You've got to have something to work with. So if you don't have money, how are you going to invest? If you don't have money, how are you going to buy that rental property? If you don't have money, how are you going to start that side business, right? You need money for a lot of things. And where are you going to get that money from? Most of us are going to get it from our salary. So if you're not saving from what you have, where are you going to get the leverage from? So you have to start building that saving capacity. It's important. Start saving. There's this challenge that I participated in a few years ago. It's called the 56 challenge or something like that, if I remember correctly. But basically, decide how much you want to save every week. Whether it's $100 you're going to save every week, whether it's $50, whether it's even $10. Start saving something every week. And at the end of the 56th week, guess what? You will not be where you were 56 weeks ago. And so find, something that is comfortable for you, whether it's money that you spend eating out on a good day, cut that out and start saving it. So whether it's $50 that you have, start saving it every week, every Friday, start saving it. And after 56 weeks, come back and see how much you'll have made. And at that point in time, when you have that amount of money, it then makes sense for you to do something really good with it that brings, great results to your life. So it's important that if you want to build financial wealth, you build a great saving habit. I always pay myself first. I don't care, what those bills are. I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going to pay myself first. After I pay myself, then I look at, okay, I've got mortgage, I've got this, I've got that, I've got all of these other things. And those are the things they're going to have to work out, because I am not touching my 10% that I've saved for myself. I'm not touching that. And then I also pay 10% as gifting, and I don't also touch that. So at the end of the day, we are going to have to make 70% work, because 30% is reserved for saving, gifting, and investment. So 70% is what I leave off. And if I did not build a savings habit for myself, it would have been almost impossible for me to do so. I also encourage you today to build a savings habit and start from somewhere, and you'll thank yourself a few years from today. Thank you very much for spending this wonderful time with me. I hope today's video was super helpful to you. And if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share with your friends. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.